Hello, shalom, bonjour, bonsoir. Ça dépend de l'heure à laquelle beaucoup d'abisso lelo na katia chaîne abisso chrétienne Venix TV, Life Changing Channel, chaîne oyo et ko transformer ba vie bien aimé bon mais la bisso makamutozo sala a ba vie a bateza transformer, nous avons des témoignages. Chaîne oyo pe et ko sangisa bisso. Kaka ndenge kalamite bo mona bisso a bo comprendre pendant que chaîne Venix TV et ende ko sangisa bisso. Zamba pambola bino bino obozaka toujours fidèle na chaîne na biso Venix TV pe na émission na bino boyebi isika nini tolingi te bato ba périr bato baza na ignorance awa mutu nyonso il faut ayeba vérité po akangolama au Bible vous connaîtrez la vérité et la vérité vous affranchira. Ce soir tozolobela sur mental health na kati ya African community. Mental health est une maladie mentale na kati ya communauté na biso africaine. Yango wana na zanga mokote boyebi na boyebi na linga pe kozanga moto ngana zana batu nanga ba invité nanga spécial pour ambiance na studio ezala vraiment kitoko. Na ko présenter ba invité nanga kala mingi te mais tokena na régie a balancer les biso moi eloko muka mukie abombela ki biso po biso pe tozwa temps ya ko essouffler. Tomeka kobongisa mwa ba kiti na biso tozwa ba blanket tozwa mwa ba cup of tea to fandi pena na sofa po makamto lobela aweza très sérieux batu musu ba bima na médiate donc lelo ba bimi c'est que mamoya très sérieux et ba jeune to recevoir bango kalamine te mettre aux non break nickel Régis soit ko balancer sur quelque chose please.
C'est quand ça dépasse l'entendement humain que tu t'élèves. C'est à l'aurore que tu renouvelles ta bonté. C'est quand le sommeil devient si doux que tu t'élèves. C'est quand je suis faible que tu t'élèves et tu agis. C'est quand ma douleur ne fait que monter, que tu t'élèves. C'est quand mes efforts aboutissent à l'échec, que tu te pointes. C'est quand ma chair s'attache aux os, que tu t'élèves. C'est qui cet homme à qui obéissent le vent et tempête, agite à l'eau par des tempêtes et les vents. C'est qui cet homme à qui obéissent les vents et tempêtes, qui agite à l'eau par des tempêtes et les vents. Venez voir, il y a ici plus que Salomon, yeah. Venez voir, il y a ici plus que Salomon. Vraiment troublant. Les hommes ont parlé, mais jamais comme cet homme. Les prophètes ont parlé, mais jamais comme Jésus. Les évangélistes ont parlé, mais jamais comme cet homme. Les apôtres ont parlé, mais jamais comme cet homme. Les pasteurs ont parlé, mais jamais Jésus. Les docteurs ont parlé, mais jamais.
Voilà, bienvenue de retour na plateau na biso et ya boyebi Il y a Osée 4 et 6. Mon peuple périt faute de connaissances. Biso ato beta c'était na perdition. To lingi ku batba bungate. Pe to lobaki ana boye bi tabou ezate. O nyonso communauté africaine atia tabou. Alobela ngo na bankuku. Alobela ngo na kati ya ndako. Biso to bimisa ngo na poisa parce que mon bato faut bazwa délivrance. Na kombo na Yesu Masia. Voilà, de na lakaki bino lo toza na bato moko ba bimaka te me ba bimi bilenge bazali awa. Bilenge moko pe ya papa mbate. Baza ba sivie vimba. Ba bino biso pe to ofanda boete ba mama na biso ba bomba makambo mingi. Biso to eko bimisa o ba mama bande ko ba na kwen wana na ba kona o ba mama bande ko ba na ba chambre biso to bimisa ngo na poisa po to lingi génération oyo pe génération future baza na connaissance parce que knowledge is the power wana bangle mbaloba sans plus tarder. Na ke déjà na koyamba ba invité na ngai avant na koma kuna na translate interprète azalia ouais. Peut-être un interprète maboko. Wow. Makambo bonane ezalaki ezaka na Venix TV Life Changing Channel. Je salue le boss évangéliste Jean-Claude Yalala na PCP Ephraim Fade Kilonga na kati ya régie Bambo Tebele. Voilà, sans plus tarder na ke déjà koyamba interprète nanga. Bonsoir Elisabeth Tangata.
Yes, bonsoir Batu Nandaku. Bonsoir, comment est Elisabeth? Na osala interprète lelo. Et puis nga finaza journaliste, bon nanga na programme nanga.
Voilà. Bon comprendre Elisabeth, il y a yo kalingala bien, mais quand le bandez a problème Elisabeth feel free to talk in English, to speak in English, because it's a English program, so feel free to talk in English. Can you present yourself, please, so that people can
good evening, yes, fantastic. Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Tangata. You also know me from the Chit Chat Show. I'm here to support my sister, Belita, and hopefully we're going to share wonderful knowledge today about mental health in our community.
Voilà, thank you so much, Elisabeth. Bon, sentir que c'est vrai que Elisabeth est journaliste, elle a degré dans le journalisme, donc toza awana batuya malonga na kati ya communauté na c'est quand même une fierté. Nous saluons déjà la présence de Mama Pipé, Mama présidente Pipé, oyo a sponsorisé émission oyo Warm Hot, émission oyo boyebi, émission tozo le kanango le ko parler sur mental health eza Warm Hot UK, ya oyo kambami na mama na biso Pipé yende mutu aza ko sponsoriser yango. Merci beaucoup Mama Pipé pour notre soutien on a Venix TV pe na boyebi, que le bon Dieu vous bénisse. Au commun déjà si j'ai ba prière na biso mama. God bless you. Voilà, toke maintenant qu'on y a invité na biso. Na loboko la nga ya mwasi. Oh, ni loboko nga. Tentete. Tobana Jessica Mabika. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, hello.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Oh, welcome to our program.
No problem, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Can you present yourself, please?
I work in a law firm. I specialise in immigration matters. I deal with asylum, deportation, so just a variation of immigration matters. At the end, I'll give my information if anybody wants to contact me for anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And next to Jessica, we've got our sister Anna, the beauty Anna. Hello, Anna.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. By the grace of God, how about yourself?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank God. Can you present yourself, please?
Yes, I work in the NHS and I work in the healthcare sector, and I specialize in adults with learning disability and mental health.
Thank you so much. Boy, bino moko boyoki bandeko langaki a makambo eza kale donc toza ya kopambolama bo partager émission oyo boye ba pena ko inviter bandeko pona ensemble toyeba koyoka eloko oyo to bengi mental health. Thank you so much. Voilà. Sikoyo tokei Elizabeth Musano ebanzi. Fonga na sukia. Musana yo ebanzi. Voilà, Elisabeth, can you retourner la bango Anna to bandana Anna. Anna yebisa biso mental health ezani. Eloko nini yo ko loba sur mental health ezani so ko pesa biso ta histoire nango ata background nango ba ba comprendre ko ba tusu ba otala biso ba yebi amote. Ba comprendre ezani please.
So, Anna, I guess you understood the question. Can you please tell us what mental health is and just a bit of background so people at home can understand what mental health is?
Mental health is a broad subject. You can't really put your finger on what it is, but it's a state of mind that you go through, and there's a lot of different types of mental health illness. I'll just name a few: depression, PTSD, if anyone doesn't also know that what that stands for. That stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. There's personality disorder. There is schizophrenia. There's bipolar. There's so many. So mental health is just a stage in your life that you go through, but it's the support that brings you out of it. It's a support that brings you out of it. It may seem hard in the beginning, but honestly, you can get through it. So you've got to have the right support system. But like I said, it's a broad subject. It's very broad, so you can't really put a finger to what it is. Everyone that goes through mental health, they go through it in a different way. So everyone's journey is different. That's what I can say for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Anna. Let God bless you. Thank you for that explanation. Yeah, Mama Elizabeth, Jessica, pona yo mental health ezani so kiko pesa ngo atana mumu ke kaka definition ya mental health. What is eloko ni eza mental health ezani?
So Jessica, could you please explain to us what, in your point of view, what you think that mental health is?
Yep. Like Hannah said, it's a state of the mind. It's not something that's seen. It's not, somebody could be going through mental health.
Please speak up. Okay. Don't be shy.
Okay. Like I said, it's a state of the mind. It's not something that you can see. We could be sat here and somebody within us could be having issues. So it's just, I wouldn't say that there's a certain definition, like Hannah said. Everyone interprets it different, so I couldn't give a standard definition.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, Yaya. Sikoyo Anna, pona nini na kati ya communauté africaine? Pona nini mental health balobi la kangote et pourtant bato belé bazo souffrir nango, mais pourquoi biso na communauté na biso africaine tolobi la kangote ezotika la tabou? Pourquoi?
So Hannah, why is it that in the African community we don't really talk about mental health? Like, we know that a lot of people do suffer from it, but we don't really recognize, it's not spoken about, it's a taboo.
Okay, for me, this is going to sound very biased, but this is just my opinion. For me, I feel like in the African community, I feel that we are very naive and ignorant when it comes to mental health. We don't want to accept that it is actually a real life crisis that people actually go through and they suffer alone, to a point where people are even taking their own lives, and we don't want it to get to that. So I feel like with the African community, we don't want to understand it, but it's something that people do suffer from, and it's something that we need to really establish, and we need to work as a community together to overcome it, so we can start saving lives. Like, one conversation with that person, you don't know, it could change that person's life. So we don't want it to get too late. So for me, it's just be naive and ignorant, but not to say that we don't know what it is. We do know what it is, but they just don't want to accept it as a community. But it's real, and people do suffer from it.
Thank you very much. Those are now break muke poto bo usana volume awa pona yo bande ko basolo bela so volume. Those in break muke région balancer biso ke nzembo muke pona après to kozonga. Merci beaucoup ndete ko za connecter s'il vous plaît bande ko to bo misakaka volume muke après to kozonga disusu.
Car toute la plénitude vit en lui seul. L'onction sa mesure, oh, vit en lui. Toute la plénitude, oh, vit en lui, Jésus. L'onction sa mesure, oh, vit en lui. Oh,
Voilà, welcome back na kati ya plateau na biso ya Venex TV, Life Changing Channel. Awa ba vie ezo changer, ba bazo délivrance. Je crois que technique na biso ko malamu. Merci beaucoup na ba soutien na bino. Pour ceux qui bino bokoma kitende to ngai to yebate. Alors si y a un problème toujours, tous ensemble bo communiquer biso comme ça bo to yeba bo sala biso signe. Voilà, donc dans mon il faut te bander la question, on a pas bandé ko yokate alors que c'est très important. Elisabeth, ça va? Okay. Can we ask you there? Autour de la question, s'il vous plaît. On a mis na communauté na biso mbazo lobela makamba ba santé mentale alors que eza ebele pour na nini juste les autres kalata s'il vous plaît.
Okay. So the question was, why is it that in our community, in the African community, mental health is not really recognized and is still a taboo when we know that a lot of people do suffer from mental health?
Okay. In my opinion, I feel like the African community are very naive and ignorant about it. They don't want to accept that it's actually a real life crisis that people do go through, and to a point where they even take their own lives. And it's hard to adjust, but it's something that is around and many people suffer from it. Like Jessica said before, there's no symptom, there's no sign, it's not visual, it's not like a disability that you can visually see. No, it's actually something that is within the mind state. So I do feel like Africans don't want to accept it, but as a community, I think we should all come together and accept it, because we want to help each other and we want to save lives. We want to see each other grow and excel. We don't want to see each other alone, neglected. We don't want that. So for me, it's just a matter of being ignorant, being naive, like basically pushing it away when it's actually something that people go through every single day. That's all I've got to say for now.
Yeah. And do you think that maybe we have this belief that, you know, if we just ignore it, it's just going to magically go away?
Absolutely.
Do you think that's part of
absolutely
the reason why?
Absolutely. I feel like they feel like, okay, maybe today you're feeling down, so it's okay, you're gonna be okay tomorrow. No, if someone's telling you they're not feeling okay, like that's already a sign that have a conversation with them, get to know them, try and find out. They will open up to them. You don't know that one conversation can open up so many wounds, and it's very important to actually communicate with each other. But yeah, I do absolutely think that they feel like it can just go away. No, it can't. It can stay there. And unless you get the right help, then yeah, it's really I don't know how to put it. It's sad. It's really sad, and it's not something that you want to go through alone. You want the right support around you.
Oh, thank you so much. About Jessica. Jessica, why is the mental health African community, so please.
So Jessica, do you want to tell us your point of view? Why do you think mental health is taboo in our community?
I think it's not necessarily a taboo. I think it's just lack of knowledge in regards to the community, because they don't really know anything about it, and what they do know is just, obviously it's not a positive, obviously having an illness, it's not a good thing, but because they only hear like really the horrid stories about it, and they don't really have any education in regards to it, so due to lack of knowledge they just don't really know how to approach it possibly. And I think in the African community they care really a lot, even though they don't want to accept it, but they do care a lot about what other people have to say. So I think it stems really from shame. So if you have a child that does have mental health issues, they don't want to obviously even speak to someone about it, because they feel like it's shameful. So it has like a shameful, like, you know, stay, as you can see. So I think that's what is really the major thing in it. So it's really, if they take out the shame and actually educate themselves, that they'll know that, and they can mainly see like the little pointers as well. Like if their children was going through it, they could actually say, okay, you know, I don't know what's the, like, not the, you know, the little bits, you know, to actually, okay, yeah, the little signs, yeah. So if they educate themselves and they know that there is actually help out there, and then maybe they can go for it. Maybe it's because it's a lot of African communities, they deal more with like the physical. So like, you know, you have your knees hurt, you can see it, but mental, it's like in your head. And so if you don't really engage in that and actually acknowledge yourself in that, or educate yourself in that, it's really hard to even know that it's there.
I also thought, like, we don't know, like, when we think about mental health, all we think is someone who's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. That's the only image that we know of people suffering mental health. We don't know the other, because it's so broad, like you said before, it's so broad. So definitely knowledge.
Education, definitely.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much, Elisabeth. Bande pozo comprendre que tozana journaliste Elisabeth Tangata azape journaliste na kati ya Phoenix TV donc tozo travailler en commun accord pona kosunga kaka biso nyonso tuna bino tokoma na knowledge wana toyoki ndenge Jessica lobi ke ezali kambo knowledge batu musu baza étiquette bayebi makambo te sur mental health yango no moni bazo kokape kolobela ngote yango na sikonga na tuna sikoyo mutu akoyeba ndenge nini kutu kazana mental health ndenge nini okomiyeba kutu kozana santé wana mentale bantiyo mama basi nimyo ba symptôme elakisaka po mutu musupo mona yebi na epete kazana ngo so mona mutu musunda ko yebi se kazana ngo siko pona ko yeba soki mutazana ngo okoyeba ndenge nini.
So this either of you can Anna, yes, we can Anna or so how can you tell, how do you know that that you're possibly suffering from some sort of mental health? What are the little signs and things that you can kind of, okay, maybe I need extra help here? Like what are the things? How do you get to know?
There's two sides to it. Some people don't want to accept that they suffer from mental health, and it's other people that will see the signs and symptoms, behavior change, body language, just they're a completely different person. Some people, they actually do realize that, you know what, I'm actually going through something and this is not normal. Like, this is not how I wake up every day. Like, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling depressed. Like, there's just, I don't feel myself. So it's really hard to pinpoint, yes, you've got mental health, to diagnose it. That's why it's just a matter of communication, a matter of observing the person as well carefully. Because like I said, some people, you can see that they're suffering from mental health, but they don't want to accept it. And that's the hard part, them accepting it and getting the help that they need. And there's other people that like, do you know what? Yes, I accept that I have mental health and I want that help to overcome this stage of my life that I'm going through. So it's very hard. It's very hard. This is why we have psychiatrists, we have therapists, like they know how to pinpoint someone that has mental health, but it's like I said, it's change of behavior. You know, some people that suffer from mental health, they don't like to shower. That is already a sign. Not wanting to eat, it's already a sign. Not wanting to get out of bed, like their self-esteem, it's literally draining them. Like it's going down. So there's not really a way I can explain it, but I'm trying my best to try and give you what I've seen in where I work, what I've seen, that's how I can describe it. But like I said, there's professionals out there that can be like, yep, you have mental health. Do you know what I mean? They know how to diagnose you on the spot. We have to observe every day, write diaries. So it's different. It's different. Yeah.
And there are also like levels, isn't it? Different levels. They say most of us do suffer from some sort of mental health, but you know, most of us can get on with our daily life.
Definitely.
Whereas you get those who get it so bad, like you say, they can't do this, they can't shower, they can't eat, and so.
Wow. En tout cas, bandeko bozoyoka ana ndeko na biso ana zolobake batu mususu soki ongoye baki akomi na mental health mwana muntu musomo na boy kosukola komeli problème yango ba mama po biso otoye na boyebi apo tozolinga biso ba mama toyeba ba parents toyeba ndenge nini ya kosunga makambo oya mental health na kati na bana. Na bana biso na ba jeune na biso yango tobengisi bilenge so comme on jeune na ndako azo boya likambo kosukola a mama mais kaka deja kosola na ye ou bien kaka deja ba biskeke Jessica yo kolobani na kona ba symptôme ndeti ya mental health lo lenge nyo koyeba ke mutu aza na mental health. Please.
So Jessica, you tell us your point of view. What do you think you can tell? How can you tell someone is possibly suffering from mental health?
I don't personally know as much in regards to Hannah about what you can look out for, but I do know that over time mental health wasn't really spoken about, whether it's African communities or just the normal white community. But I do think over time, especially in media, movies and just like, you know, talk shows and stuff, I think they are talking about it a lot more because they're seeing the numbers, you know, are rising in regards to that. So if you, obviously everybody watches TV, listens to the radio, so on. So I think they are, you know, talking more about it. So if you can kind of, like Hannah said, if you see, you know, someone's not getting out of bed, or, you know, they're not being sociable with other people, or they've just distanced themselves, little things like that, you can see those are signs, yeah.
Wow, merci, thank you so much. Mia Jessica Bakisa lobi eloko msuso komoni mwana alingika kufanda kaimo mutu pardon kufanda ka kote na emoko alingaza na ba so distance ezali to na moma wana mais oyo ya ye comme exagéré lingi to mwana katute c'est que to checker déjà s'il vous plaît. En tout cas, ce qu'on a la motuna biso inbox to ko comme ça mituna bino na ba invité na biso tozo sepela. Elise Yaya okoki kotunelanga ana s'il vous plaît. Si vous pouvez biso bengisi bango ba jeune. Donc tozo lobela mental health na kati ba jeune parce que to notice to remarquer que mental health comme mingi na bana. Mikolo mutu fallait to ndeko s'attendre que na mikolo ni bazana ngo mingi pour mikolo bazama responsabilité belé na ba problème belé. Si ko à notre grande surprise to moni que mingi de ba young people bango ba komi na ba mental health wana ba problème na mental health so ok na ba centre de santé mi tout au moment na bango tale belé eza dû à quoi yango de to bengisi bango awa ko ba yebisa biso cela est dû à quoi s'il vous plaît banana Anna.
So we've noticed as well that, you know, obviously we're all young people here, and the reason she invited young people is because we've noticed a rise in numbers on mental health of young people in our communities. So she wanted to know, do you know why we've got this rise in young people with mental health in our communities? Because normally it was known that it was older people, you know, we've got all these worries, bills and whatnot, life stress, and young people usually have just the life ahead of them, but suddenly they have all these things going on, and so
what's the reason? I can't give a factual answer, but from what I've picked up, it can be anything. It can be from your upbringing, so how you was brought up as a child. It can be from school. It can just be from your daily life, like. Sometimes your mind just slows down. It just wants to move backwards when you want to move forward. So, and you can't control your mind because your mind, it's our mind that sends messages to us to move around, to do our daily activities. So, but the majority of it is from upbringing, from your childhood. So that will play a big factor in the future. When you're growing up, like you're going to start seeing a change of behavior, and all that anger that they had when they was a child, they're bringing it out now. So. And that's obviously causing them to suffer from mental health. So also in schools, we don't know what happens in schools when they go to school. So we don't know if they're getting bullied. We don't know how the teachers are treating them. So schools as well, they play a big part because we don't know, like, when they're in school, are they alone? Like, are they distancing themselves from people? Are they, like, we don't know that. So school as well plays a big part. Socializing with people, you don't know, like, it's a lot, like, especially like now, right now we're living the global pandemic, like it's even worse because people are staying indoors, especially kids, and they're used to going outside, socializing with their friends, and now, you know, there's been restrictions. So there's a lot that comes with it. But what I've known from when I was studying, childhood plays a big part in mental health, especially growing up, because you don't express how you're feeling as a child. You express it when you're older. You start realizing, okay, this happened to me that time, so why am I, do you know what I mean? It's just, it's very broad, but everyone has different ways of expressing themselves. Some people very closed and very secure about themselves. Some people are very open and broad, and they want to let it out and make people realize that, yeah, I need your help. Like, I'm craving for your help. I'm craving for your attention, which that's fine. But it's just the way we conduct ourselves. We need to realize that there's a way of asking, and there's a way of asking for help, and we just got to do it the right way. But with children, it's just it's a lot. It is a lot. But childhood and education, for me, I think they're the main points.
Childhood na education. sikoyo tobandana na makambo ya childhood parce que ntongo toke na childhood tozomona baparents mpe baza na kati tozomona basiblings mpe baa na kati tozomona family na kati ko tokenda ngo na step parce lolenge nini kasi childhood na yo ou bien baparents na yo famille na yo koki kozala cause ya mental health ndenge nini bafamille na yo bien childhood na koki okoze ba mental health expliquer biso parce que biso toa baparents toye po toyeba po to help bino bien to changer pe please.
So we would like to know how, because we're going to break it down a bit. Okay. You spoke about family, you know, it could come from your childhood, so that's a family environment, as well as in school. So starting from family environment, your parents, your mom, so how does that can start or switch on like a mental health condition on a person? Or
it can be from... When I say childhood, it can be from the way you was brought up. So maybe you was brought up in a certain way that wasn't mentally healthy for you. So you couldn't adjust to that change. Maybe it could have been, for instance, these are just examples that I'm giving. These are just, maybe your parents could have split up. That as well, your mental health can play a part in that. Being abused, that can play a big part in it. It really depends, and it's just it's different because some people, they can go through all of that and they won't say anything as a childhood, but when they grow up, that's when they're very vocal about it, and that's them trying to express themselves. But the way they express themselves, I wouldn't say it's not in the right way, but there's a way to go about it. There's a way to go about it, there's a way to conduct yourself. But it can be anything from your parents splitting up, from you being abused, from I don't know, you probably not being brought up by your parents. It can be because of that. Maybe you was brought up by another family. Your parents could have left you. You know, it's just, it's, like I said, it's a very broad subject. So you can't just pinpoint, you can't say everything at once because there's a long list. So
I was thinking actually, you know, especially if you come from an African family or Asian, they have this, you know, children are not allowed to kind of express themselves.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And I think this is part of it. When you're a child, there's this thing that you're there to be seen and not literally behavior. And that definitely plays,
Mm.
you know, I think it makes it hard.
Definitely.
I know, obviously, you don't want your child to be throwing tantrums. That's not what I'm talking about. But allowing a child, maybe when they calm down, give them time to you know, calm down, and then, you know, tell me what's wrong. Maybe, you know, that's something that can help. And we
I think that's where you have the problem.
Yeah, that's what we lack. It's communication.
Because they don't sit down and have a conversation with their
Jessica, s'il vous plaît, parce que par monde bazar niveau spécial. Jessica yebisa biso, Jessica, from your point of view, pour na nini ba jeune belé ba comme na ma santé mentale, ba problème ma manquer santé mentale. Na kati ya mboka nous tozolo ba na kati ya mboka na biso Angleterre, ma communauté na biso africaine, tozolo remarquer que bana ba comme na ba problème wana belé ba jeune surtout pour na yango to bengi bino ba jeune pour bosunga biso please.
So your point of view, why is it that in our community here in the UK, in the African community, there's a rise of young people suffering from mental health?
Well, kind of leading from what you said or following on, I think there is a breakdown of communication between parents and their children, not just in regards to mental health, but different areas, which you can talk about another day. But just like, so with that, I don't think they have that dialogue between them. Like you said, kids are meant to just be seen, not heard. And I think, for example, with other families and other communities, they actually, if a kid acts out of their behaviour, they would actually sit down with the child and ask them what's wrong and so on. I think a lot of parents would just say, you know, African parents, I would say, they'll just punish you and just send you away and not actually have a conversation as to why that happened in the first place. But then also in regards to that, I think, sorry, bear with me. I had a good point here.
J'aime s'il vous plaît, like, pour bloquer vidéo, s'il vous plaît, Jessica, pour continuer na yo.
Yeah, I think what the problems that young children have, I don't think the parents understand it. So that might be an issue. So the problems that our parents face, like just in a general African household, you're thinking about family back home, you're thinking about financial situations here, that the parents think that their problems are a lot greater, and then you think you've brought your children here, for example, you have a good life. what do you have to be like upset about? You have everything. So what do you have that will take you to the road of mental health?
Point, Jessica. Jessica, can you repeat that, please? Let me explain it to everybody. Jessica Zolo Balobi ke problème ezapé eza ba parents. Ba parents bazo kanisa biso ba parents to kanisa ke biso nde muto na ba problème. Ya ngwana to considérer pe ba problème bana te alors que bana na biso pe baza na ba problème na bango. Diko moyen kutu ba yata ko yebisa biso ba problème ngo ezate parce que biso monje to nzwa makamu na biso to mema na mutu to lakisa bango ke biso nde muto na ba problème bino bana ba problème te ko botama awa bokola awa bozana mai bwana courant bona mtoto lakisa bango ke bango bana problème te. Ya ngwana moyen kutu to landela ta bango to tuna ta bango te so baza na ba problème. Ya mwana zo souffrir na ye kati na ye mais moyen le bata ezate parce que tozo lakisa ka ke biso mtoto ba problème. That's very good point, mama. Continue, please.
I lost my train of thought. But yeah, just in general, I think that's what it is. I think sometimes we're not saying that. I think it's also a balance. Just because you're a parent doesn't mean. I think sometimes you have to kind of bring yourself to the child's level to kind of speak to them in the way that they would want to be spoken to. If you feel like someone's always like on top of you and they're always just dictating at you, you're not gonna feel. They're not approachable. I think a lot of African parents are not approachable for their kids to speak to them. So like writing it all up. If I think of any more, I'll let you know. But for now, my train of thought's gone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anna, maybe to zona nikamba ko back. Sapo yo zona bela ko ba. Uye toke de school. Uye to sika to taka na ba commentaire ya. Awa. Parce que ba to bele ba zolo ba. Nani ba tumsu ba lobi ke suicide.
Yeah.
Yes, suicide peut cause à la cause. Il y a ba mettre occupé pour se suicider. Yes. Après, Jessica, two questions. I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this question.
Oh,
if you cannot answer, pardon, Natalie, sorry.
Okay. I was like, what?
Natalie Jocelyn Medley, thank you so much, yeah, Natalie, for your support. Can you share the program, please, yeah, Natalie? She's got a question. She said, being born again, that does exempt you from suffering from mental health.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Who's going to answer it? Pick off.
Wait, can you say that again?
Being born again, is it going to save you from mental health?
This was definitely a point, like, because I did speak to some of my friends about some of the questions that we'll be speaking about today. I do think religion does play a part in regards to people accepting. I think we all obviously would like to think that, obviously, I don't want to offend anyone, so I don't want to say the wrong thing. Okay, but I feel like we like to think that, obviously, we pray and then God obviously makes the way and obviously we get, everything we want and everything. But I feel like maybe in situations of mental health, families are not accepting that you actually have, it's a medical thing, like you do need medication, you do need therapy and so on. So, and with that, it's like, well, why is God not fixing my child, or why is God not fixing this? And then it's kind of, so I don't know if I've answered it, but I don't think, it's not about religion, it's about somebody's going through a situation or, a phase in their life, or it could be a long-term thing. And it's just, I don't think whether you're a Christian or not, or, you believe in God or not, I think it's just,
state of mind.
Yeah, it's just a state of mind. I don't think that has anything to do with mental health.
Africa.
I think that's all.
It's impossible to separate the religion aspect with the actual
But I
mental
think
health.
African people, religion is the first thing that they go to. So at the same time as well as just saying, we're thinking, how can you go there? But African people, their go-to is God for everything. So, and in this instance, in regards to mental health, it's not, obviously we'd like to think, obviously God helps in certain ways, but it's not the 100% as medication that the person needs. So I think I don't know.
Yeah, Anna, can you say something about it, please?
I want to obviously break it up.
Yes,
First of all, this is going to burn me. We need to stop trying to combine mental health and witchcraft. They're completely different subjects. Witchcraft is spiritual. Mental health is actually the state of mind. It's something that someone cannot control. Like they're actually going through a dark stage of their life and they need help. Because we can see people are even committing suicide and we don't want that. And that's what I wanted to get out of the way first.
Yes.
But regarding Nathalie's question, like Jessica said, it is something medical, but from someone that, because sometimes I do go through my stages of mental health, and yes, medication is necessity, but when I tell you, God comes through. Like God always makes the way. He never forsakes his children.
Amen.
If you talk to him, I'm telling you this now, he will open doors for you. Like you can overcome it. And when you're going through mental health, I think it's absolutely necessary to put God inside. Because God... Oh, sorry. Sorry, no, I'm telling you, God, the way God opens doors for you, like not even doctors can do that. Doctors may say, oh, it's a long-term thing, but once you put your mindset and believe and have your faith in God, I'm telling you this now, he can overcome, break barriers that you never thought you come over, open doors that you never thought you'd see, bless you with stuff that you never thought. Listen, he will bring you into a new dimension. Like I'm telling you, once you combine God in your mental health journey, you can overcome it, and you can overcome it. You are going to have your days when you're going to feel down and you're going to feel depressed, but when you start listening to preachings, start listening to songs of praise, honestly, you'll forget about it. You will forget about it. But like Jessica said as well, it is something medical, but remember for God.
I think, can I just add, I think it's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a combination of the two. Obviously, we don't want to outweigh, the one over the other, but it is definitely a combination. And I think sometimes where the African community go wrong is where they look more towards God, like more as opposed to the medication side of it, or the other types of forms of help. And then that's where there's an imbalance of actually helping, because you're like, well, I'm praying, there's nothing happening. Well, if you add the therapies and medication and so on, both of them can work well together.
Well, you may be praying, but your heart's not in it. What if your heart's not in it? You can be praying, but are you actually opening your heart to God? Are you actually talking to him?
Well, that's for the people that are actually praying. You don't pray just for the sake of praying. You actually have to believe in what you're praying.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Anna. Mozo make good points there. God bless you for that. Tozana Nathalie a insisté. On dirait vous répondre à la question de ma réalité. Parce que Nathalie, je peux peut-être répondre Can you share, s'il vous plaît, Emmanuel Santé, Papa Emma Santé, bon cher programme, oh maman Aurélie, nous vous saluons, maman, au qui vous partagez mission, plus vous partagez, vous help, plus vous support émission, oh maman Pipé déjà attiré déjà sponsor donc il y a comme on a sponsorisé si ko biso tozo ko aider kaka na ko partager zamba ko pambola bino parce que ça façon la bino bozo support Phoenix TV, the life changing channel. I love this. Voilà, question les abongana tout non na lingala abi est-ce que mutu oya za born again oya yambi Yesu azamba la moko automatiquement save aza épargner na mental health.
Okay, so basically her question is the person who's born again, who's received Christ in their life, are they excluded, or are they, does that mean that having Christ in your life means that you're exempt from suffering from
I don't
mental
think there's
health?
an exemption. I think because there's people that believe in God that go through mental health, so what does that say about them? So, and there's people that don't believe in God that don't have mental health, so how do you have the crossover? So I think it's quite...
There's no right or wrong answer. I think it just depends on what you believe and how you overcome your journey. But I can't say you can't say that you're specifically excluded from mental health. It can just come at any time. Like that's what I'm saying. Mental health, it can come anytime. It can come.
I don't think it doesn't pick people.
Yeah,
it doesn't have like a criteria. People like you can come in and out. So, and I think with religion, it's not something that you can outcast
Oh, definitely.
You can't outcast people.
I think also, a lot of us Christians, a lot of believers and stuff, we tend to think that because we believe in God, we're exempt from any.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we go wrong
suffering,
in
a lot of Christians, tend to lose their faith when they've been praying for something that's been going on, and then there was someone who was sick and then they died, and they were praying, I didn't want this person to die, and I pray. And that's how people lose faith, because we believe, because we have Christ in our life, we've got faith. It means that we're exempt from any suffering at all, and that can be a bit misleading for some people.
When you go through them stages in life, like them down, when you're like, oh my gosh, like my life is just, there's no meaning to life, but don't you think that's God trying to tell you, like, the only person you can turn to is Him, like, only He can help you overcome this situation? Because sometimes I feel like we're so naive and we forget that everything that we have can go in a second. And sometimes we have to go through a dark stage in our life to realize that, yes, God is the only answer, and it's only God that can help us overcome this situation, that can help us overcome this barrier. So I feel like we need to be... Yeah.
So what about people that don't believe in God? What about them? So are they not saved?
I don't know that one.
I don't agree with that. Sorry, I don't agree with that.
I don't know that one.
I guess each to their own beliefs.
It's a bit of a debate, that one.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Like our Phoenix TV tozo sangisa ba non-believer na ba believers bazo come together parce que Yesu ayaki fo na ko sangisa biso Matthieu mutalobi, nous sommes tous en Jésus-Christ. Voilà. Nathalie alobi ezaki na go question, that was no question, it was a contribution aye.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Nathalie nakale.
We're actually passing a sweat here.
Voilà, donc ndesi na mama sikoyo muntu oyo azana tutu nilanga ana na Jessica s'il vous plaît. Muntu oyo azaka sina na nini na tota non era kuna zoke voilà. Donc on a question siko to ke na voler à school education please. Avant to ke na question na ngai ba dernière question na voler siko ya education. Tangu ana lobaki ke education pe ko play big part na muntu akomana mental health na ba young. Et bah je na mettre est-ce que aye biso na lolenge nini po biso ba parents tolingi to yé ba poto solo la school tout est là.
So the part where you mentioned the education can also play a big part in someone's mental health issues. So how do you think that works? Because they people like her were parents want to go to school and sort it out.
First of all, parents, please be easy on your children. Be easy on your children, please. Be easy on your children, please. When I say it plays a big part, I'm talking about what like happens inside the school. Because like I said, we don't know what happens inside the school, and when kids come back to us, we just take their word for what's happened in school. So we don't know. Maybe they could be getting bullied. Maybe their grades are low, but that doesn't mean to say that they're not clever. But it's probably their mindset is just moving slow. It's developing slowly, and that can bring a child down when they can see that everyone else is getting good grades and it's just me like already. That's a state of mind, especially in an African community. Yeah, I'm going to expect us. African community, African community, do you know what, I don't think parents understand how much pressure they put on children when it comes to education. You guys expect us to be getting these top marks and everything, but it's not easy. It's so easier said than done. You have to go through, listen.
Not everyone can be a doctor. There's these high expectations.
Yeah, like these high expectations already, that's setting, they're going through a deep depression already. Like they're going through some sort of, like...
I'm not good enough.
Yeah,
that's can I just add, I think parents need to accept...
So, let her finish. As well as my good points. You're going to forget it.
No, I just want to add to that. I think parents need to accept that every child's ability is different within school.
Thank you
so
much.
They don't. So, for example, if I want to be a doctor and I've got the grace to be a doctor and I'm clever enough to be a doctor, and then we're the same friends or family, and then you don't have to want to push Hannah to be a doctor if she doesn't actually have the ability to do that. So it's like your unnecessary pressure when you know that possibly Hannah only wants to be, I don't know, a model. I don't know. Or something like that. I'm saying, you know, I feel like they do it more for what society thinks. Oh, my kids are loyal, or my kids are this, and that pressure is what amounts to kids to be doing. And then even with education, they don't even help their kids with education. So you send your kid to school. Sorry to just add on to this. You send your kids to school, but do you actually speak to your children about what's happening in school? Like, do you help them with homework? Do you speak to them about the topics that are being discussed at school? You just send them to school and expect them to come out with good grades, and then we move on. You don't actually interact in the kids' educational life, and I think that definitely plays a part or adds on.
Thank you so much.
Go.
A lady called Benedict Kindundu, she wants to fund. I don't know ce qui Regia pour permettre à Soto Fungulani. It's not possible to fund Benedict, please, because of the time. Because after here we got a program coming right after us. So can we just inbox us your question,
and we'll
we're gonna give it to our guests. They're going to answer for you. Thank you, Benedict, for your support. Can you share the program, please? Thank you.
Can I just go back to what I was saying?
We need that. Please,
no, I was just saying because parents here, they put so much pressure on us, and they expect us to get these high grades and be like doctors, lawyers. Let the child be what they want to be. Just like, I feel like sometimes just because they want the best for us, and sometimes it's because they didn't have the opportunity that we do. That's totally fine. I'm all for encouraging your children, but let them encourage themselves to be what they want to be, because that already plays a big part in their mental health state. Like I said, when it comes to school, grades, bullying, we don't know what happens. They could be like, oh yeah, everything's fine out. Everything was fine in school, mum, or everything was fine in school, dad, but you don't know, like, when they go upstairs, they're probably, you don't know, they're crying, or they're feeling sorry for themselves because they don't feel like they're good enough. And then you come back home, especially like African household, you come back home, they expect you to know everything. Like, people, we do struggle, and they're still developing, so we can't just try and put the whole world on their shoulder. We can't do that. We need to be easy on them. We really need to have that. You need to have a communication, establish that communication in the household, so you're approachable, so they can be like, you know, have that conversation with you. If something bad is happening in school, you have to be that first point of call for them to tell. Yes. Because you don't want it to be, something, God forbid, anything bad happens to your child. You know, because you see on news, kids, they write letters and end up committing suicide, and we don't want that, just because they didn't have that point of call to contact, that person to talk to. And that really, that's scary to think that, I'm your parent and you don't want to talk to me. What have I done? But it's the way you approach, the way African parents sometimes, they can come across as abrupt. And that's not in a rude way. I know my mom's watching, so I know it's not in a rude way, please. It's not in a rude way. I'm just saying, African parents, they can come across as abrupt, and it scares the child to come forward and tell them what they're feeling. It's not easy for someone to actually come up to you and express themselves to you. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot, and you should even praise them for that, because they're going to think, okay, that was easy. So they're going to keep coming back to you. Keep coming back to you. But please, Africans, be easy on us children. We're still developing.
Thank you. If be easy, one I thought something after some practice. One is up on about women, but if to zana besoin to yeba, to sala nini, to behave lolenge nini, to zana besoin to changer. Yes, to changer parce que ezo sala biso pass comme on a ba na biso bazo ke na ba situation na mama. It's a very painful. Very unbearable. It's a pass. Yes. Sikoyo surtout biso ba intercesseur to ozo bondela na kawana maya miso kitarangana la la rango na mabele to yo na se. Sikoyo passe makasi parce que moi na oyo bombi nef moi na bongo. O mona ele lwa binya komi na centre mbato no tout. Ya eza passe. Sikoyo yebisa ba yebisa surtout sala nini to zala ndenge nini ponga na za rwedi ya ko changer.
So Sister Benita is asking, so what can they do as parents? What can they do? Please let us know. What can they do to change?
First of all, they need to listen.
Listen. Mama, please. Pardon. Ba maman na ba papa, merci Elisabeth. bana bazopesa biso lolenge nini faut tozalaka na bango po to éviter bamakambo bamettre parce que twana bana misu bazokola bango kutu ba overcome bango yango babimi bayakoloba po moto overcome bango tako yakoloba te donc yango wana azopesa biso nini tosala na papa na mama bokoma s'il vous plaît nga mpe nazokoma après bango bajeune mosu bakoyaka bakodefile ana Venix TV bakoya koloba to kolobela ngo ti tokoshimapara bakoshange merci. Go and listening.
Not to be judgmental.
No judgmental.
So when the kid actually comes and speaks to you, you actually take time to actually listen to what they have to say and not cut them in, if you basically. And you go.
Yeah, you can go. You can come.
I'll come back. Yeah.
Referring back to what Jessica said, not to be judgmental. Just be approachable. Just. You know,
loving.
Un peu de tendresse, you know. We need that. You know, we need that affection. We need that affection. Kids crave for the affection, especially at a young age. They might not show it. You know, they'll obviously play like they don't need it, but we need that affection. We need our parents just to be a point of call where we can come and talk to them like we talk to our friends. We can open up to them. Because I'm telling you, that one conversation can open up so many wounds, and you won't even realize. You'll be like, is this the same person that I'm living with in the house? Like, you don't even realize because that person's going through all of that alone, and just because you're not approachable, they stop themselves from coming to you. But please, just affection. Please, don't be judgmental. Be approachable. Understand. We need to understand. Even if the child, what the child is saying may be wrong, just listen to them because they want someone to listen to. Someone to listen to them, to understand where they're coming from, and then put your input afterwards. But the way you put your input as well will obviously depend on if the child will come back to you to open up to you. So your understanding has to be in a way that the child will be like, okay, do you know what, mom, dad, you're right. Yeah, I take that into consideration. Next time I come, we can work on that because you know you have to take baby steps. You can't just push them to like, yeah, now it's time to heal. No. It doesn't work like that.
I've got one. Benedict messaged me. She's told me what she wants to say. So basically, she just basically wants us to like be aware that although our parents are contributes to some aspects or children not being wanting to be able to approach them and so on, but parents are not the sole. I don't think parents are the reason why kids have mental health. It could be in certain circumstances, but it's not the whole circumstances because what your kid does outside of the house, they have their own relationships, their own friends, personal relationships. So there's their own. They have their own lives, and that could be causes of actual mental health. It's not. So I don't want parents to sit there and think they're the reason why if their kids are going through mental health. It's them. You just need to be available if your kid is going through something. I think that's the main thing that she wants me to try and say, that you just be available, accessible for your kids to be able to come and speak to you and to know that. Like I said, going back on not being judgmental, if a kid's just to know that the way an African household is, and we live in a westernized world, that there's things that you will accept and so on. And if a kid comes and talks to you, if they know that you're being judgmental about certain things, they won't come and speak to you, right? Because first, you probably don't even know about, how, Western children live, how Western children live and so on. So I think it's just to know that it's not just, we're not putting the blame on parents, we're just letting them know that that they have to be there for their children, that some of them are contributing factors, but there's other factors that cause kids' mental health, and just to be there for their children.
So like a communication barrier, there's a big communication barrier between parents and child. It's not always because the parents is close. Sometimes the child just doesn't know who to go to just because due to fear, that strong person who's authoritarian and stuff. So
thank you so much. Poto silisa parce que to comme na suka posa ko silisa te mais because of the time il faut to silisa. Merci les jeunes abande ko boze belé vous soutenir biso zamba pambola bino to kozonga li supo session oyo mama pipe wom hot UK alobi ako sponsoriser yango pona to sala workshop na permission ya Venix TV na yiki côté wana le quoi Venix TV azape parents akoboya na été donc bande comme sous bana misusu bakoya pour vraiment to stop bito solisa bana to bimisa o baza kati na bango po biso nso to changer po to succès na biso question ya suki ezaka ke lolenge nini sikoyo biso ba parents tokoki ko aider mutu oyo mwana oyo aza na problème wana ya mental o azo go through mental health problem toko aider bango lolenge ni tongi to yeba plus wana question ya suka pe balobi pe na bamona bango ya suka.
So for the last question, so how can parents help their children who are going through mental health, or young people who are going through mental health in the community?
Support.
How can we support? Yeah,
I think I've kind of covered that in my last in my last answer. I think I've kind of covered that. Sorry.
I think it's just listening to the child, honestly, supporting them and just engaging with them, and whatever step the child wants to make, just go along with them because it's their journey. They want to overcome it in their own way. Don't put pressure on them. Just be their support system, because once you have a support system, you will overcome it. It's honestly the beginning. Yeah, it seems tough, but when you look back in a couple of years or months, you'll be like, and I went through that and I overcame it. It's nothing, but it's just that right support system around you. Not just parents, family together. Yeah, you could uplift someone's spirit just by being there, just by supporting them. They need that. They need that encouragement. So that's all I have to say.
Can I just add? Yeah, I think going back to my original thing, it's about everybody being educated. So I think once everybody's educated, if like I think you said workshops, but I think you meant in regards to this, if there are, like I think there needs to be more type of, like, for example, workshops and like places for people to go to be able to speak to people like in a confidential so I think that will definitely help, because once you're educated in any aspects of everything, you'll have a better understanding of it and better ways to deal with it. So that's just for children, parents, just everybody is.
Thank you so much. Vraiment to sepe makasi Zambia pambola bino. Have you got any last word to say in a second, please? Poto kabwana lelo for today's program. What is your last word, please?
It's okay not to be okay. Honestly, mental health, it happens every day. Anyone can have it, so it's not certain people. It can happen to anyone, so it's okay to not be okay, but just have the courage to accept it and overcome it. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Jessica.
Just talk to each other. Whether it doesn't have, we keep talking about parents, it doesn't have to be your parents. Just at least talk to someone that you feel comfortable enough to, release, some information to. If you're talking to people, and obviously that, I don't know in regards to therapy wise, but that can be of a form of therapy itself. So just talk to people that you feel like, that you feel confident to speak to, when the confidentiality is there and everything like that. So I think talking, and then once people start talking within their homes in regards to, for example, they've seen this today, they can start talking about it with their families, their friends, and somebody within that group or circle, like I said before, they could be going through it, or they know somebody else that could be going through it, then they can kind of speak about that. So I think talking, it's overall the best thing.
Thank you so much, Mama Aurelia Lobi. It's not just parents' side. The children need to be open to, especially to what's going on in school. Donc, les parents, balobi bino pe bana bozala pe open. Tozo comprendre que bolingi biso toza open, bino pe boza open. Ezali contribution à Mama Aurélie. Mama pipe teste ya lobi ke bo teach a lot. I learn a lot. Thank you so much. Ba parents belé bazolo ba merci. Mona tama ba komo na bino ezate. You're gonna go back home and then read the comments. Please, if you can be able to answer some questions, please do so. And then thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure to have you in Naboye knowledge. Elizabeth, any last word, any comments about the program, please?
Just as a community, we just need to learn to support ourselves, stop embarrassing each other. And, if someone comes to you, if a friend comes to you and they share, try to find ways of supporting the person, because this could be someone who's trying to, tell you that they're not well and stuff. Trying to find somewhere or somehow where you can support just by listening and not telling everyone like we do. And, that tends to increase the mental health of, the mental health issues of the person. So.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That was a good contribution, good Nina siya bien. Thank you for your support as well, for coming.
Thank you for
Let's bon Dieu te bénisse.
Thank you.
Voilà, donc merci beaucoup na maman Lisiane Gama Sambu. Ozalaki vraiment wana maman Fifi, maman Mimi, bande konyo surtout nzamba pambola bino Destiny Kilonga, Benedict Kindundu, Christina, nzamba pambola bino mingi. Merci na Vanessa, ye paza kuna na sima ya biso, azo support biso, bokende te boza toujours connecté parce que après biso beauté santé, ya maman na biso Nicole Ezoya azo lobela sur la santé sexuelle ya bana mibali. En tout cas, bon invité ba papa à côté sa biso ba secret pour la santé sexuelle ya papa et lobi pe toza na bana na biso Vanessa Otiliana Emmanuel ya BBC ya bakozala wana ba osala show moko kitoko ba parler biso sur growing up na Congolese community nde makambu. Voilà. Bozanga te bino mingi, bosabone, follow biso na page na biso Venix TV, Zamba Pambola bino Efraïm Kilonga, Papa JC, Maman Mimi. Thank you so much. Moté Malangai, Henri Kilomingo, I love you. Et merci aussi na sponsor officiel par Dr. Charles Wayawa. Shalom chez vous. Bye bye. C'est bye bye, bye bye.
Nanyango akokani na yo, Nanyango akokani na yo, Nanyango akokani na yo, Yesu yo mokeli na nyoso. Nanyango akokani na yo, Nanyango akokani na yo. Yesu yo mokeli na nyoso. Osala kilikolo na maele na yo, osalinga moto nelilingi na yo, na pesa yo nini na masosali na ngai. Nanyango akokani na yo, Nanyango akokani na yo, Nanyango Yesu yo mokeli na nyoso.